In today's episode, I've got my daughter Valentina with me, and we're going to talk about the importance of a work-life, family-life balance. And what does that look like from a Maddalone household? Number 1, plan trips together. Number 2, engage daily with the family activities.
I think one of the main important thing is having family dinners. And that was a big thing that we did. 6 o'clock every night, we would have family dinners. We'd set the table, sit down, and we would all talk about our days and we'd all connect.
And number 3, make memories together, laughing and dancing. Let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of Kingdom Heirs, where faith meets business, inspiring the kingdom-minded entrepreneur. Today, I've got the privilege of having Valentina Maddalone with me, my daughter, and today we're going to talk about how family and work life goes together and the balance of all of it. So, Valentina, welcome. I'm happy you're here. You're on the first 2 episodes.
I was on the first episode.
First episode.
Yeah.
And we're now, I think this will be episode 21. Mm-hmm. So there's been 20 episodes between. Yeah. Welcome back.
Thank you. Making my grand re-entrance, you know.
I just have to ask, are you a faithful subscriber?
I am. I'm a faithful subscriber on the YouTube, the Instagram, and I believe it's Apple Music.
On Apple Music?
I couldn't find it on Apple Music.
Yeah, it's there somewhere. We'll have to make sure Andres is posted on Apple Music. But so you do actually follow and you watch.
I do.
All right. So what do you think so far? How are we doing?
I think y'all are doing pretty good. I'm not just saying that. It might sound a little biased because I'm your daughter, but I actually do enjoy it, and my friends watch it too. And they come up to me and be like, "Oh wow, we just watched the newest episode. It's like so cool." And I'm like, "Yeah."
Really?
I'm like, "Yeah."
Even your friends?
I know. Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
That must mean we're doing something right.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, this is good. So, a lot of people think that business is just business, right? Mm-hmm. And family is family. But in our household, most of our evenings when we all are back together again after the school day, work day, we all come back together. We typically talk about what's going on in life, and Dad is usually talking about what's going on in the different companies that we own and operate.
Yep.
And what's that like for you when you hear Dad start talking about work and business?
It's not always positive, you know. So it's like,
that's right.
I don't know. I just.
So to your point, it's not always positive.
No.
It's not always rainbows and sunshine and rainbows.
Definitely not.
Skittles falling from the sky. And
whoever said
entrepreneurship
entrepreneurship was easy, they lied.
It's not easy, right?
Yeah.
It's not easy. And, entrepreneurs, typically, we really need a support system around us to do what we do. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it feels like we're going out and facing Goliath every day.
Yeah. And
it's the hurdles, the challenges, the difficulties. And without a really strong family life, it doesn't, it gets messy. It's bad. It's really hard.
Mm-hmm. Well, because there's no foundation to stand on. Because not only do you have your faith foundation, but you also have your family foundation.
Yes.
And if your family foundation is really weak, then how are you going to be able to keep going and keep building up, So
it's true. Yeah, that's a great point. So, as a kingdom heir, we're rooted and established in biblical principles, right? Mm-hmm. Having a walking, living relationship with Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And you made a great point there that we have a firm foundation and we know who we are, what we're capable of, we know who our God is. But if we don't have a strong family foundation, we can have some solid ground here, but then we can have shifting sand on this other area, right?
Right.
And so, you've been here for the whole ride. I think that the year you were born is the year I became a contractor, independent contractor, 1099, self-employed.
Yeah. James the Carpenter.
Yeah, that was one of my many names that I did business under in the beginning. But I remember when you were born. Mom and I were flipping our second house. We loved the renovation, remodeling, construction experience. We realized the amount of money we could make doing it, with flipping a house. And I remember telling Mom, I said, I really want to do this full time. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I was a licensed life and health insurance broker, and I was doing well, but it takes a long time to earn money. When you sell a policy, it takes you 12 months to earn the money, like your commission. Every month you get a little piece of it. And so it wasn't moving fast enough. And so I remember talking to Mom. I said, I really want to do this full time. I'd like to start working and remodeling and doing so. And that's what led us to work and be apprenticed with Bob, our good friend Bob. And so I think the question then is that it almost became, I didn't realize how all-consuming work can become when you become a self-employed person.
Yeah.
Where you're not relying on another person to you show up, you do the job, and they pay you.
You're holding yourself accountable.
Yeah, you have to be accountable to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go out and find the sales. You got to find the customers. You've got to take care of the project. There's so many things. You have to do everything in the beginning.
Yeah.
And it literally can take over your family life.
Right.
Because now it comes into like, well, are you going to be home for dinner? And no, I may not be home for dinner. Well, why not? Why aren't you not going to be home for dinner? Because it took me 3 weeks to get this one job, and we don't have the resources that we need, the money that we need until we finish this job. So I'm going to work like crazy to finish this job so I can get the money we need, so I can have the money to pay the bills. Mm-hmm. All right, the mortgage, the lights, the insurance, everything, right?
Yes.
So we're talking about family and work-life balance, right? Mm-hmm. And I think for most people, that doesn't really exist. Most entrepreneurs, I don't think they do it very well. Right. And I know because I didn't do it very well for quite a while. And not because I didn't want to do it well. It was just...
Well, it's a learning experience, just like anything, right? You're learning how to build your own business because you're your own boss. You're your own employee. You're still trying to figure out like, okay, well, should I trust this person to employ them? Am I going to make enough money to pay for my food and my rent, my utilities? Am I going to make enough money to survive? So it adds a whole nother kind of pressure to the point where it's like, this is the only thing I need to be focused on.
Yes.
So I think starting out as a young entrepreneur, it can get kind of easy to just be, to go one tracked.
Yeah,
one
all
track
consumed.
Mind. Yeah, all consumed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, that's good. So it's true. It's very easy to become all consumed. And what I know, it took me about 7 years before we really started being able to save some money and put some money away. And so when we hit a slow season for work, as a contractor, remodeling contractor, as a builder, there's times where there isn't any work right now, especially during the holidays and the first, the November, December, January, February, March, that's kind of slow.
Yeah.
Traditionally, it's slow for most people in trades. And so, but Mom had said, look, let's put money aside. Let's get 6 months savings, as much as we can do, try to hit for 6 months savings for all of our bills, be covered for 6 months. And at the time, our bills weren't that huge. So it was like, I felt like it was an obtainable goal.
Yeah.
And we did it. It took us, I don't know how long, it may have taken us 6 or 8 months to do it, but we did it. Mm-hmm. And then what I realized is that what I loved that Mom would do is that she would start planning trips.
Yeah.
She would put things on the calendar.
Mm-hmm. I will say one thing that y'all did a very good job of when we were younger was that if we were struggling, us, like me and my sister, we had no idea. Everything was just great. We were all like, oh, okay, we're going to go do this now. This is awesome. I'm like, all right. Like, Mom would be walking around with the pamphlets, putting them in like the cars and all that. Like, I remember that. And that was just fun. That was like another excuse to go out. And we were like, okay, this is great. Even like when you were doing like construction, like I would go with you when the kid or the twins were in school and Mom was in school. And
this is when you were probably 4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5. But you would take us to the job sites. You would get us involved and
just to see what I was doing.
Just see what you were doing.
You included in it.
Yeah, included. And I think because of that helped development as you're getting older too. But going back to what you said, we did do a lot of trips. That definitely did keep things.
Yeah, we did local trips.
Yep.
We did some overseas trips. Mm-hmm. And one of the coolest things that I remember transitioning is that I would get really, really stressed when we didn't have work lined up. So we'd finish, say it's a kitchen project, and I'd finish a kitchen project, but the phone didn't ring. I got no other referrals, and I was like, man, I don't have another project after this. And so in the beginning, I would stress out. I was super stressed. Super, super stressed. And Mom would say, what are you doing? Just relax. I said, I can't relax. We need another job. Like
enjoy the moment.
And it was really hard to enjoy the moment when you need finances. Mm-hmm. And so that was one time in the beginning where I said, I realized I had to give that over to God.
Yeah.
And I had to say, look, I believe you're helping me. You're blessing the work of my hands. You're here. You're engaged with me. But this is like a dry season and I don't have anything. And I've worked like crazy to get to this point, and I'm faithful, I'm diligent, but I need more work.
Yeah.
And something that was being told me is that you need to slow down. You need to enjoy the fact that you don't have work right now. Mom did a great job really speaking that into me. She said, slow down. You've been working like crazy. Now you have 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off, a week off. This is the time we're going to go do something.
I think it's important too, whenever God gives you a season of rest, that you take that season of rest.
Right.
Because when he gives you that season, it's for a reason. It's to prepare you for the next challenge that is coming up next. So I think by taking by listening to God and being obedient and taking those moments to rest, you will be more fruitful when the next season comes.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think that was kind of the key thing too, is just looking at, planning trips. I would say that's a very good thing that you should do is plan to take day trips, some overnights. Doesn't have to be real expensive trips. Doesn't have to be anything that's going to break the bank. But really, you want to engage with your family outside of your home and create really good memories. And just sightseeing and whatever it's going to do. Whatever you can do. Find waterfalls and just go hike waterfalls. Right. Something. Go have dinner in another town away and just go have something that you do that you can say, oh, that's what I can remember we did. Because one of the frustrating things I think people experience is like when they look back over the year, they don't remember all the things that they did, and because they may not have done many things. And so I can remember being so enthralled into a project or a year of so much activity, so much work going on, that I would think, man, we didn't even do anything this year. And what Mom started to do was she started creating these family albums.
Yeah.
And a family album was a year. It was a look back over the year.
Of everything we've done.
Of everything we had done. And Mom would just make sure that, each week we were doing something. Each day we were laughing, we were engaging.
Yeah.
And so those family albums have really become a great keepsake for us, haven't they?
Oh yeah. We have I think what, 20? 20 or
at least 20, yeah.
At least 20 photo books. Yeah.
Yes, we do. And that's really what it is. It's to go back and then you see all the things that you had accomplished, all the things you had done. For us, some of the work projects were in there.
Yeah.
Right. My phone is filled with work projects, like photos of progress. Hey, this is what we're doing. This is where we're at. But even some of those are in the book, because then in my mind, it's a timestamp. Oh, I remember that project because I spent 3 months there. And during that project, we also had a graduation. We had a dance recital. We did an outreach. There's all these different things involved. I'm like, oh, my life is actually feeling balanced.
Yeah. And it's not just hyper focused on one thing. It's being spread out. And I feel like when that happens, you feel more accomplished. Because it's okay, not only did I get this done, but I was also able to go on this trip with my family. I was able to connect with this person. I was able to reach this mark. So it's just more accomplishment versus just the one thing.
The one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's great to look back and say, hey, I built that plaza. Oh, that's so cool.
It was a very good plaza.
And it is a great plaza, London Square Plaza, and in Corpus Christi, Texas. If you haven't been there yet, you don't know what you're missing. But to remember, I mean, that took a solid year to build that thing.
It did.
Start to finish once we broke ground. And I felt all consumed by that. But then thankfully I felt that way, but it wasn't actual, because then I look back at these family photo books and I'm like, oh, wow, we did a lot as a family during that time as well.
We did.
So I think it's important that we give ourselves some grace, especially for those who are really hyper-focused and trying to do their best for their family with providing, financially. But the big thing, like anything, is how do we do it balanced? And planning trips, planning activities is crucial, so important. Taking time to color a picture with your daughter, right?
Yeah.
Or go ride your bikes around the neighborhood, even when you're stressed out and you got work stuff going on. Well, your kids want to ride their bikes. Just go ride your bikes.
Yeah.
Just go do that, right? It brings me to the next point of engaging daily with family activities.
Yes. And
so trips are good. But trips can then say, well, I took a trip 3 months ago and it was the last time I engaged with my family. And that's also not balanced. So what would be really balanced here is look at the schedule, look at a weekly schedule, and look at what all the activities your children have and you have planned, and with your wife and your spouse. at that point, make sure you're inserting yourself into that schedule.
Right.
Be involved.
When you come home from work, all your kids they just want to spend time with you. Well, because they're all out all day and they're like, oh, I just want to see my dad because they love you. So I think one of the main important thing is having family dinners. And that was a big thing that we did. 6 o'clock every night, we would have family dinners. We'd set the table, sit down, and we would all talk about our days and we'd all connect. And like even as a little kid, that like instilled some very strong.
It's true.
Yeah.
It rooted us as a family.
Oh yeah.
And we would talk about everything during those family meals. And nothing heavier than what I think you guys could handle, but we shared with you what was going on. We're like, hey, and it wasn't to burden you. It was because we would then pray.
Yeah.
We would then pray together.
We would pray. Yeah, I remember.
Right. And I think that's the cool thing is that, we shouldn't walk this alone.
No. Well, we weren't meant to walk this alone.
That's right.
We weren't designed that way.
That's exactly right. We're designed to be connected with God. He's the living water, just like a fish needs to live in water. Yeah. Right? We need to live connected with our Father God. But I'm going to go back to what you said before. We need to have a strong family foundation as well. Yeah. Where we have a great amount of support, right, around us, and that every member of the family matters. Right.
Well, it's like the human body illustration in the Bible. You are the hands, the feet, or something like that. Yeah. I think that connects with the family. Like we're all a unit.
That's
we
right.
each play a role.
A member of the body.
Yes. We each play a role in what goes on in the family unit.
That's right. It's so true. It's crucial that we all know that we have a role, especially your children. You have 4 siblings, one of 5, and each one is crucial. And I know I tell your younger sister, and I hug her, and sometimes she feels like, and she's having a moment, and I just grab hold of her and I hug her and I say, I need you. And I want you. Yeah. And I couldn't live without you. And I'm so thankful that you're my daughter. And she looks at me with her big brown eyes and she says, really? I'm like, oh, yes. Come here, sweetheart. Because it's easy it's easy to think that you don't matter. It's easy to think that you don't count because there's so much other activity going on. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. It's probably one of the hard things also about being in a big family because it's like you start to get focused on what other people are doing. And then you start feeling like, oh, well, what I'm doing is not enough. It won't be enough. Yeah. So it starts to drive this unhealthy need for approval. Yeah. So that can also start crumbling the foundation because then that starts, people start
splintering apart.
Yeah. They start not being as vocal. They start trying to overcompensate.
That's right. Or be secluded and seclude themselves. And I think that's so important that, in families together, regardless if you're an entrepreneur or not, in families, we have to foster relationship and healthy relationship. Yes. Yeah. And I remember this with you, your older sisters, the twins, at times would love to just play together. Because it was
that's what I was thinking right now.
they would love to play together. And you would come to me and say, Daddy, they're not letting me play, and you'd be upset and crying and I would go back to the twins and I would say, do you remember what I would say?
All 3 girls play together.
I'd say, Daddy has 3 girls and 3 girls play together.
Yep.
And it's just that simple. And that was my rule. In other words, I don't want anyone feeling excluded because once they feel excluded, now they find it's almost like an opportunity for the enemy to come in and to sow seeds of doubt and unwantedness and rejection.
Anxiety and depression and all those destructive things. Yeah. And I mean, even for you come from a family of, 16?
14,
14.
Mom and Dad, 14. 16, sure. It's large, it's big.
Enough. It's around there. So I think if anything, you would know the feeling of with older siblings and the conflict and not the results of not resolving your conflicts.
That's so true. Yeah, it's so true. We can learn so much from our families of origin, the families that we were born into. And one of the greatest things that we can do is be intentional with our own families and teaching our children what we didn't learn growing up, but we wish we learned is far more important than giving them what we didn't receive, like possessions. And so there's a lot of people want to compensate on, well, let me just give them what I didn't get. My dad didn't give me a new bicycle. I always had a broken down bike. So I'm going to give my son a new bike. Well, that's great that you can do that. but there's principles. It's the principles of how do you win at life. And I think the teaching the principles is so much more important. And those all come from what we've experienced. Hurts, pains, challenges, difficulties, right? Yeah. Rejection. And yeah, I mean, having a lot of older siblings and not feeling like your voice is heard or feeling like you count or you matter in the big picture. Deep down knowing now that I do, but it took time for that, right? And so I think that's what's important is that when we connect, moms and dads intentionally connect with their children, but children, you've got to also intentionally connect with your parents.
Oh yeah, because you get what you put in. Like you reap
it's
what
a two-way street.
Yeah.
It's such a two-way street, right? And so I think that's really important. Number 3, making memories together, laughing.
Oh yeah. If it's all serious all the time, then what's even the point,
Seriously. Yeah, because we deal with a lot of serious stuff all the time, right? Life can be just so serious, right?
Yeah.
And you hear bad news. All you got to do is turn on the news and you just see bad news, right? And that's why I don't actually do that. I don't really watch the news. I'm very selective with what I listen to and what I watch, even today. I definitely watch Kingdom Heirs and listen to Kingdom Heirs Message. But seriously, I know, a little plug for us. But seriously, I am very mindful of, because I know if I stew on it too long, it'll come out in how I interact with with Megan and with my children.
Yeah.
Right. And so I always want to be positive and encouraging, like K-Love, which is kind of funny. But I want to be positive and encouraging. And that's a way to do it is that one of the best things you do is get your family to laugh. And I don't mean crude jokes or those awkward laughs or those like everybody's uncomfortable now that you said that.
Yeah.
But I do say some uncomfortable things sometimes. It gets people laughing.
It depends on what kind of humor you have.
I have really slapstick, funny.
You do.
Funny humor. Do I really?
Yeah, you do.
You think I do? Do you ever laugh at my jokes like really because I'm funny? Or do you just do it because I'm dad?
It's like 50-50.
50-50.
50-50.
I think that's a fair, honest. See, you teach your kids to be honest with you. There's no wrong answer. Just give me the truth.
There was one time though, I was getting food from the kitchen and you were hiding in the pantry and you jumped out and you scared me so bad I fell down. I almost like peed my pants. It was like
that was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
So yeah, we have a big pantry and Val and I are always we have funny interactions. You and I. Yeah, we just we look very similar. If I was a lady, I would be gorgeous. I already know it, but I'm a guy, so I'm not. But we got the nice fair skin. We got the beautiful blue eyes, nice hair. You have a lot more hair than I do. But so we connect and we have funny sense of humors, right? You and I both do. So I'll do whatever I can to get a rise out of Val, just to get her laughing and feeling like,
Same, right back at you.
Yeah. Because in the end, we always remember how we feel around one another. Not so much what I say, but it's how you feel.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that's the key thing in finding family work balance here for family life is to engage and laugh with your kids. Even if you have to tell a bunch of dad jokes just to get the ball rolling and laugh and dance together.
Well, because they'll remember that.
They do.
They'll look back at it and then they'll be like, oh, well, my parents took the time. Like they actually, like things weren't always so serious. Like we had moments where, oh, they did this really funny thing and it just stuck with me for the rest of my life. Like
absolutely.
And like that's going to reflect on how you parent your kids too.
Yes.
Because like everything you do reflects.
It's generational.
It's generational. Yes.
That's right. So to that point, another thing I would say is have dance parties.
Oh yeah.
How many dance parties have we done?
We've done a lot. Done a lot of dancing.
And it's silly. It's not coordinated. It's not. It's just hilarious. Like it's like sing your heart out.
Yeah.
And dance. Just dance part. Like you remember those little reels Gio was doing? It was like you had to choreograph with a song and you had to do like a dance.
That.
Do you remember what is that called?
TikTok.
Oh, that's called TikTok. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I'm not a big TikTok guy. However, but she was doing TikTok videos.
She was,
and all of us were engaged in those.
Yeah.
Like symmetry, like symmetrics, everything.
We were just having fun with it.
It was so much fun, right? And so as much as we have really challenging things, hard things that we walk through, and they could be for extended periods of time, we take trips together, right? We engage daily with family activities so that we all feel like we're connected to one another. And then we make memories just laughing and dancing together. I really feel as though those three things would probably be what we've done together. I mean, we go to church together.
We do.
We serve together. We've done a lot of things like that. And, like on bigger scales as well. I mean, we've done a lot of things, but those big things can't be the only things. Right. It's daily working the relationships with which who matters the most. Really, in the end, it's our families. Right. Because that's what we're doing everything we're doing for, right?
The foundation.
It's the foundation. And so, kind of hovering back over those key things, I think is so important for us all. Val, what are you up to now? What are you doing?
Right now I'm a college student, getting my prerequisites done so that way I can apply for the radiology program at our community college. I work with you. I build cabinets in our warehouse, and I also make gelato.
At the coffee shop, at Coffee Waves.
At Coffee Waves.
Valentina, the Italiano, is the gelato maker at the London Coffee Waves location. So if you want to taste some gelato from an Italian gelato maker, come on over. Yeah. You're also a awesome artist.
I am. I've been. I started off with pottery and clay. I did that for 6 years. And then I started doing drawing, painting, basically like anything art related. I've tried it.
You have, and you've self-taught yourself.
Yes, I've been self-taught. My thing is, I want to be a jack of all trades and a master of majority of them.
So well said, Jack. A Jill of all trades.
Jill of all trades.
A Jill of all trades and master of some or a majority.
Yes.
Val, your artwork is phenomenal. Val's done a lot of murals and buildings. We've got a couple commissions for you in that new Kings Plaza we're going to do in Kingsville. We want you to be putting up some huge murals on these building walls. Yep. Val helped us with our Kingdom Heirs crown logo here that has the 7 points. The 7 points.
Well, that was me and my mom. That was me and my mom.
Mom and Val, super creative.
For credit where credit's due.
Yeah, it's so important. That's a true artist. You got to give inspiration. Where'd your inspiration come from? And so, so Val's got she also touches on different aspects of our business at times, but she really does have an entrepreneur's heart as well. And artwork really is her thing, but she's self-taught in just about everything. Yeah. And that's what I love about you, is that you're willing to just do what it takes to learn how to master something. And I'm really excited to see what your life is going to blossom into. Me too. And so I hope that you would come back and join us on the show again.
It's a pleasure.
You don't have to wait 20 episodes to come back. We could just slot you in every 20 episodes, and you're right. We could talk about that at dinner tonight.
That'd be awesome.
All right. Hey, what are we doing tonight? What are you doing?
I'm probably going to be hanging out with you.
I'm taking the kids. Mom and Michaela are traveling. They're in Europe right now.
Yeah, they are.
Eating some really interesting, disgusting looking
Michelin
things. Star type stuff. Michaela will tell us more about that at some point. And I think I'm taking the kids to a bounce house place in town with a friend across the street. So daddy on the spot. That's me. So. Thanks, babe. No problem. I love you. I'm so glad you're on here today with me. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. I pray that you would take back with you the family work-life balance, plan trips, engage daily with your family activities, and make memories together, laughing and dancing. Those are the things that the Maddalones do. We do it well. And thank you for tuning in. God bless you guys, and we'll see you next time.